As humans, I think we have a very, very deep drive to be happy and fulfilled. And in some ways, there's so many practices that we all know and hear and see and even do that it would seem like, well, then why aren't we living life in peace and happiness and fulfillment? And as we all know, we also have other things in us that seem to contradict that feeling of well-being, our thoughts, our feelings, our genetics, and just in the world, there's so much going on, so much stimulation that's aggravating our system. So it can seem very hard to be peaceful and to find that inner calm, that inner power. And also our system is hardwired for survival. So part of us is always looking out for, am I safe? Is everything okay? Can I relax? And in our modern times, there's so much input that for our systems, it's so easy to feel fried and burnt out and just losing that spark that we see in kids and we see in nature and we see in animals. And so for me, I'm very fascinated with how do us as adults and busy people, how do we live in that spark? And how do we find this well-being in us in a way that's very practical? It's not like, oh, I take this time to go for a walk or to meditate or to pray or to do something, but the rest of my life I'm in chaos. And so I'm very interested in how we can have a way of doing that. So if you look at what we're going to do today, the goal is for us to be together and have some time to be in hopefully a more peaceful vibration in yourself and feeling, and also to have some practices that we do today that you feel like, wow, I can actually take this into my day immediately. So I want it to be very practical for you. So there's three main pieces of this today. One is getting perspective. One is getting purpose. And then one is having a path of practices. And the path can be like just what you do for work or school, but I'm looking at like a deeper path too of how do you remember this deeper perspective and this deeper purpose to either if I want to de-stress or if I want to wake myself up. And you adapt to what's right for you. And just know that any moment our nervous system tends to be too tight or too loose. And we're looking for this quality of flow, which we'll talk more about. So I'm going to stand up, you can sit. These are two just simple physical practices that I use throughout the day. I teach a lot and I work a lot, and they help me reintegrate that quality we're talking about. So the first one is just to shake. So I'm going to shake my hands, my wrists, my arms, my shoulders, and then my whole body. And I'm going to do it two different ways. One way, if I want to wake myself up, if I'm tired, I need to do some mental work, I breathe faster. And the intention is I'm bringing in power. I can do the same exercise to try to relax myself and de-stress. So part of it's my intention, how I'm breathing. When I'm letting go, it's more like, right? After a long day. If I'm waking up, it's more. So that's one practice. It's very, very helpful. And if you feel balanced, but you just want to get everything going. The second practice, I breathe in, I squeeze my muscles. And if I want to relax, it's that feeling of letting go, like I just did in the shaking. I feel everything settling. I breathe in, squeeze. And I breathe out and let go. So my brain, my body, my breathing are all this quality of sinking and letting go. If I want to do this to let me feel power to go teach or work or do whatever I'm doing, I breathe in, I squeeze. When I let it go, I feel the power more going outwards than downward. So I'm ready to, and we'll focus more on this later, but for right now, I just want you to see we have these two simple practices, shaking and squeezing and releasing, that can give us more calm or more power to go do things. Looking at this for about a minute or less to see if you can focus on your exhale first. So notice when you breathe out, it's a message to your body and brain to relax. And notice when you breathe in, how since we're bringing air into our bodies, it's creating a little bit of tension. And so we're learning to use our breathing like a musical instrument. and we're figuring out how we want to feel. But right now, I want you to focus on relaxing and de-stressing. So try this experiment while you're watching the video. Can you breathe in with a feeling of relaxation similar to what you feel when you breathe out? So for example, when I breathe out, there's a letting go happening inside, whether I'm aware of it or not. When I breathe in, there's a building, a power, whether I'm aware of it or not. So I'm practicing breathing in the same relaxing way that I'm breathing out. And I learned this from Vladimir, a world famous ninja who is masterful at breathing. So please try this. I'm going to see if I can show you this video. So I talked before about, if you're just hopping on, that we're looking for ways to stay deeper connected to our peace and our well-being and living life with fulfillment and not being stressed out. And we have one system in us that's looking for survival, and another system that's looking for well-being and fulfillment and flow. And to find that well-being, I believe we need perspective, a bigger, broader perspective. We need to figure out our purpose for being here, for living, and then having a path to live that and to live whatever we do in our life and to learn to live without being so stressed. So let's see if I can do this video. This is for perspective. So just from this person being us right here, observing how small our perspective can be, just like me and my story, my family, my problems, whatever it may be, and then just watching this for a moment. There are many ways to get perspective. I know I heard when I was reading the Dalai Lama once, somebody was asking, how do you keep this perspective with all these problems that you're dealing with and things you've dealt with in your past? And he said, I try to look at the long, broad, deeper, wider perspective of things. And so this is one way. We look at this video and I can go, wow, I get so caught up in my head and there's this whole magical universe going on. I'm part of this big thing. And so that may be one way for people. Another way may be just to go out to nature and to connect to nature and feel like you're part of the earth. Another way may be through prayer, meditation, through kids, whatever it is. But if we're clear, like, hey, you know what? It's so easy to get a tight, small perspective. I want to get a broader perspective. So I want to do a little bit of a breathing meditation just to explore perspective and purpose and peace, and then we'll put it into action. Decades ago, when I started meditating, it was very strict. It was like you sit and you don't move. And there's a lot to that with developing discipline, but I also think there's more to seeing what's right for you in this moment. So if the goal is for you to be present to what we're about to do you feel like sitting or standing or lying down is better? And it may change. Like I meditate pretty much every morning. I often start standing and moving, and then I stand, and then sometimes I sit, sometimes I lie down. It just depends. But I try to have the intention to go into it as deeply as I can and to find peace and less stress. So if you're comfortable closing your eyes and sitting, standing, or lying down, and feel free to change it. I want you to have this inner intelligence that sees what you need. I may even change sitting or standing, I'll see. So with your eyes closed, if you're comfortable, if not, you can keep them open, or if you want to look outside at the sky, if that helps you, try to picture yourself as that view that we just saw of going from here up, and into into space, the universe, however you want to see it. And as you're breathing in and out, every inhale and exhale, feel that your awareness goes further out and up. And so having this intention, this awareness to not be your story and your problems, but more connected to the highest place that you can keep breathing into. So as I breathe in slowly through my nose, I feel my awareness going up into the sky as much as I can, even if I'm using the visual of that video. And then when I breathe out, I feel my awareness going higher. As I breathe in, I go higher. So keep doing that as I speak for a moment. It's very normal for our brain to get distracted, to judge me or the practice or yourself. Those are easy for us to do. It takes a lot more love and power to stick with it. So if you get distracted, don't worry. If it doesn't make sense, don't worry. Just try to breathe in and breathe out and focus on your awareness going high up. Now, if you have a spiritual inclination in any way, you may feel like, okay, I'm bringing my awareness to the magical source of life, to anything that you relate to. It really is not important, as it's important and that's personal for you. So I feel that your inhale and your exhale is taking you to the source of life, to the purest thing. If it's nature for you, whatever it is, just the purest essence of what you are, where you come from. And try to breathe in and out with this perspective. And just like we were looking at that video that was going up, 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 now see if you can be looking downward at the earth. You see this magical place. And somehow we're going to become part of that. And when we do, we want to be able to keep some perspective of this higher, broader perspective, because it allows to have so much more peace and less stress. And also from this perspective, you were to ask yourself, like, what's the purpose of me actually being who you are in your story? Like, what's the purpose of me entering into this life? And from my perspective, there's a deeper purpose of like to learn to love and to grow and to be the best person we can be and to help others and to help the planet, however you feel that. And we also have a personal path, what we do in our day, family, hobbies, work, school. And so right now, let's focus more on the internal, deeper, spiritual, if you will, human being purpose. If you see the being as the spiritual and the human as maybe who we are and what we do in our story, but see if you can connect to this broader perspective and this purpose of why you feel on a deeper level you're alive. And then what I'd like to do in a moment, you can keep doing what you're doing, is breathing, connecting to this bigger, broader perspective and purpose. And then when you feel ready, with your inhale and your exhale, I want you to feel that you're going to enter the top of your head, in your brain, in your mind, and you're bringing in this purpose and perspective into your brain. And when you bring your awareness back inside your head, see if you can breathe in a way that is very light, like as far as the density of it, and also maybe light, like you see that light, if you will. And there's almost like this inner smile because you have this understanding of this deeper perspective and purpose. So see if you can just focus on being in your head and any or all the things I'm saying. Breathing lightly, like the density, very light air, in your head, and you can breathe either out of your head or stay in your head. I breathe in and I breathe out within myself. And maybe you'll feel like light, like the room is lit up, an inner smile, a purpose, a perspective. And there's a deep peace in knowing that you're clear on this perspective and this peace, if you will, this purpose. And this energy, if you will, this awareness has different qualities that give us fulfillment. Another quality is the quality of love and kindness and courage and giving. And so we tend to feel that in our upper torso area. So see if you can, with your breathing, as you're breathing in and out at your own rhythm, and in a breathing that feels good for you right now, see if you can bring your awareness into your upper torso, your heart area. And sometimes for people, it's just naturally to feel love, and you don't have to do anything to do that. You just bring your awareness there. But sometimes we want or need something to stimulate that. And so maybe you think of a loved one, a partner, a child, an animal, something you love about nature, something you love doing, and see if you can trigger that love, courage in your upper torso and your heart area. And as you're in this area, every time you inhale and exhale, see if you can feel it expanding. So your whole upper torso fills up with breath, with love, with courage, with kindness. And there's a way you're doing this that all these things are layered. So sometimes even just a little piece of love feels like the right challenge. I was just working with a young woman before this privately with dealing with nervous system things, and how do we get more calm in our nervous system, and challenging ourselves the right amount for today, not too much or too little. So right now for you, it may be like, oh my goodness, I'm feeling so much love. I would put it into action. For others, maybe it's like, it's hard to feel it right now, and that's totally fine, just to embrace where we're at. But if you feel like you have a lot of love in you right now and you want to explore this, see if you can expand your awareness and your breath down your shoulders, upper arms, forearms, and hands, so you feel that you can put love into what you're doing, whether it's massaging, cooking, writing, computer, doesn't matter, but you have this feeling of focus and perspective in your brain, mindfulness, awareness, and then love going through your arms and your hands. In high level martial arts, I feel like that's really what an intention is. If you have to hit, is to calm and help instead of hurt. So feeling this love in our heart and arms and hands, if you will, and breathing. And then one more area I want to focus on, and then we'll get moving. So we have this upper region where there's this perspective, this purpose, this clarity, this peace for knowing that there's a bigger picture. It's not just we have to control life. We have this love. And then now going down below and behind your belly button, as if it was like the bulb where your roots begin, as say a tree or something. And you have this deep bulb below and behind your belly button that you're breathing into. It makes you feel very grounded. Some people like to focus just there, and some like to do either or both of these, like to breathe in and feel like the earth coming up through your feet, through your legs, and into this bulb and going back down. So you have these roots. So do whatever feels right for you, but try to focus on your breathing and your awareness down low and having more of an earth feeling. Keep breathing and focusing there, and if you're able to listen at the same time. So we have this perspective, this purpose, and then the third thing is a path of moment to moment learning how to take care of our operating system, so we can remember our perspective, our purpose, and we can be in the moment and we can do our best, and we can fulfill whatever we want to do in the world. And the path to me is a flow path. It's learning how to be so present and flowing with our insides, with everything that's going on, our thoughts, our fears, our stress, and our deep perspective and purpose and path. And learning how to take this flow into the outer world. And so which is dance of what am I thinking and feeling, and how do I flow inwardly, and how do I flow on the outside. And in Life Keto, we call it the river. The flow is the river. And we use our 3 B's, our body, our breathing, and our brain. So what we just did right now was a meditation, if you will, that was getting that brain perspective. And then we practice being mindful, which we'll do in a moment. And then this heart in our body and in our lower belly, and then our breathing. So now we're going to put it into action. When I get up, I want to try to integrate my 3 B's, my body, my breathing, and my brain, not just getting up like, boom. I'll show you. I don't want to do, which is easy for me to do, is like, oh, I got to get up and feel all the aches and pains. What I want to do is feel my body like a river, my breathing, and my brain. And as I get up, I use my breath. So for example, I breathe in, I start breathing out, and I ride that breath. And then once you get up, what I'd like you to, if it's not okay for your body to get up, don't worry, you can do movement sitting or lying down. What I'm going to do right now for a moment is I'm just going to try to walk from my lower area like I'm very grounded. In class, I'll often have people pretend they're like a gorilla and just feel grounded. And so I'm not a thinking human right now. I'm very grounded, or feel that you have roots like a tree, and you can move, breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth, and feel very grounded. And now feel that it's like you're going to embrace somebody that you love, and your heart is leading you as you're walking. And then feel that you have this really clear perspective and purpose, and you're just very, in your head, very light, and also very aware. So you're going through the world, walking is representing this, without breathing, and I have this perspective of, hey, right now I'm in this meditation class that I'm really into. I'm speaking about myself right now. But also remember, there's this bigger perspective this is all part of. And for me, something I really feel strong is I want to be the most present, loving, courageous person that I can be moment to moment. So that helps me keep that in perspective. So this river, if you will, it's flowing up and down from this higher perspective, this love, and this groundedness. So I just want to do a brief moving meditation from Qigong called the 3 centers. So what we're going to do is we're going to feel like this can represent the inside, but also you can feel like you're gathering calm, strong river power, this higher perspective, and you put it down in through your brain and your heart and that lower dantian, and then you turn your hands up and you bring it back up. And then you bring it down and you bring it into the lower dantian area, which is that lower power center. And that's something you can do more of. Just because of time, I want to do some other things, but this is a really nice practice for you. So I want to do some simple joint mobility for a moment with the goal of keeping your river. So if you could put your arms straight out, if you will, and then you can turn them with your palms up and try to feel a tall posture. So in your body, you want to feel like your bones or your spine's long, through your fingers are long, and through your feet. So this lengthening. And then we're going to just be very gentle and do some small circles. I just want you to see if you can keep a smooth breathing, a smooth, calm mind, brain, and your body, even though we're doing these circles. And then in a moment, I'm going to challenge it. I want you to notice what happens. So let's say I start pulling my fingers toward my body and pushing my palms away. And so for many of us, that creates a tension here. So try to exaggerate if you can. Pull your fingernails toward your body as much as you can. Push your palms away. Bring your arms back to get the biggest stretch that you can get. And notice when we get a big stretch, how it sends a message to our brain and our breathing, our body to hold. Instead of holding, mindfully breathe in your nose, and out your mouth, and feel your brain softening and your body staying soft, even though we're creating tension. I want to do one more thing with this. So keeping your arms there. If it's okay for your body, squat down like halfway. So now we have tension in our legs. We have tension in our shoulders and arms. And if you do nothing, if I just stay here, what happens is I feel my shoulders complaining right now, and soon I'll feel my legs complaining. What I'm trying to practice is how do I feel inner peace and flow while my body is feeling some stress, which happens in our daily life, right? So I'm trying to be conscious of my breathing and keeping it smooth. Keeping my brain, my mind calm, and not feeding the discomfort in my body, trying to work with it. Okay, very nice. So that's one thing. So I want you to see with the 3 Bs. Let's stand on one foot while I'm talking, please. So with the 3 Bs, if we challenge our body, the brain and the breathing tend to get tight. We're trying to become aware of like, oh, my body's tight. How do I not let it control me? How do I find freedom? So with balance, it's another challenge. Now I'm going to do a joint mobility exercise, which normally I would recommend holding for, but this is intentionally to work, make us feel uncomfortable with our balance. So let's say I start falling. It's going to tell me like, oh, I should be embarrassed or whatever, or I'm going to hurt myself. I want to try not to let that control me. So if you could take your foot across your body, we're going to be opening up our hip joint. And keep your knee as high as you can. And just notice when tension, whether in your brain, your breathing, your body wants to take control. And even if you fall, be safe, but see if you can practice staying in your flow, in your river. I do most of these every day, and I often fall. Some days I do, some days I don't. And it's just to learn to flow with it. Okay, let's do the other leg, the same thing, but also while you're doing that, rub your belly and pat your head. And so all I'm trying to do is add stress to our body, breathing, and brain, and figure out how can we, inside, remember our perspective, our purpose, and to flow in this moment, this path of flow. And even if we collapse, to work on flow. All right, one more thing. So I'm going to do this, and then I would like you to do it in a second. So just watch me for a second. I'm going to bridge up as high as I can, and I'm going to squeeze my glute muscles. And I want to kind of squeeze around my belly and my inner thigh. So I'm consciously working this area. And then when you're here, I would like you to focus on your breathing, and this is going to try to get your attention. And then I want to see if you can do the alphabet backwards every other letter. And I know I can't do that without going to like one letter or going back, but just try to really do it. And notice how the mental challenge wants to cause stress. If we're really squeezing here, this wants to cause stress, but try to work on that inner calm. We'll just do this for like 20 seconds or 30 seconds. If you don't want to do the letters, you can count by numbers backwards from 37 by threes. Goal is to find calm with challenges. Slowly coming down. So just watch me for a moment if you can. I want to try to stand up and walk with my goal of feeling this river this calm. So I'm going to use my breathing to help initiate my movements. Just like when we were breathing into our brain, that lightness, we can use our breath as a lightness to move our body. And then just for a moment, once you get up, I want you to use your breathing and just find movements. For example, for me, this movement, I find really opening, freeing. So just with your body, your breathing, your brain, and your heart, try to find some movements that make you feel really, really good. And focus on your breathing and see if you can do that thing that I spoke about earlier when you breathe in like you do when you're breathing out as far as the feeling. So if I'm stressed and I'm trying to just use my breathing to help me, sometimes that's the tool to use in the moment. I breathe out. And when I breathe in, I try to create that same feeling of relaxation. Sometimes when I feel like I want to build power and energy, I'll use my inhale to build power and my exhale to build power. So it's a different feeling in my body and my brain. So we learn to nurture using our breathing. So leaving today, if you just left with anything, would be to be aware of hopefully this perspective, this purpose of why we're here, and have a path of practicing to remember that and to flow. And we use our 3 Bs, our body, our breathing, our brain. Our brain can be as simple of, hey, be in the moment, pay attention to what you're doing, be present to your surroundings, be present to your breath. The breathing, find a rhythm to breathing that helps support how you want to feel in the moment. There's a lot of power to the breathing. Then our body, we carry everything in our body. So if I'm stressed, it's this. If I'm feeling sluggish, it's this. So putting our body in a position where my spine is long and my soft tissue is powerful, but soft. It's not this. And so I can squeeze and go to relaxation, or squeeze and go to like a little tension for power. So we learn to use our 3 Bs like a fine-tuned instrument. In my own experience of training and being part of other trainings, many trainings through the years, being part of like a community of people that are practicing or having similar intentions really helps, because we just learn from each other. Like when I go to teach the martial art class or spiritual flow class, I learn from other people inspire me, or other people's challenges I can relate to. I'm like, oh, wow, I have that too. I should try that thing they said, it's helping them. So I find it very helpful. So this meditation we did today, we have a regular class called Spiritual Flow. Experience that, because to me, that's something that's really important, is be able to take meditation into our day. And how do we do that? Well, we have to practice it when we're physically stressed, mentally stressed, emotionally stressed, can't breathe very well, whatever it is, these things that elicit fear and insecurities and all. And so I think like in the martial arts, for example, and in the main system we teach called Sistema, my teacher, his name's Vladimir, he's always putting us under like this, some kind of level of stress. But before that, he's always teaching us like, hey, be in this place inside of you where it doesn't affect you. Like you learn to work with it, and through the physicality and martial arts and hard exercise and things. So I think it's really great to look at different ways to challenge ourselves and then see the thing that comes up, because it's the same feeling inside, it's just a different stimulation, right? Like, oh, I'm collapsing in a push-up, or I can't count backwards with the letters, or whatever it is. And so it's cool to enter different ways, because in our day, like you're saying, we have so many challenges that press our buttons. So I'm glad you experienced that. So I'm so thankful for you all, and also for these practices, because again, it's like we can have the intent of like, hey, you know what? I want to be happy. I want to find a deeper meaning in life. I want to be fulfilled, but knowing how to do it. And so to me, these practices help me so much every day, and they're very practical, whether I'm teaching or my family or doing curriculum or whatever I'm doing, they help me when I practice them. And so it's amazing to have people, like I said, to communicate with and share with, so you feel like, oh, wow, we're supporting each other. I think it's really helpful. So whether it's here with us or with other people or your family or all of the above, just trying to find that in your day. So it's not this isolated thing that's not really supporting you throughout your life and your day. Well, thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful day. And if you have any questions, reach out. And then if you're ever interested in this class, we do it every Friday at 12 o'clock, 12 to 12:45. We always do like sitting, standing, moving meditations and things like that. All right. Thank you again. Have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. I hope to see you all very soon.